Right, let's go. Where is it?
Got it up.
Share. Minute, and then I guess we'll get started to see what turns up.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, fucking hell, that was quick. We're just gonna get settled down here in the Wrestle War Arena. This is where the interview will take place today.
Personal business.
Well, the jobber's not here apparently, so he doesn't want to know anything.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Howdy, Redneck Avenger. Wrestle War has finished. This is just a case of, well, we're going to be bringing interviews with Meet the Roster. This is the first interview. Where better to start than from the top and work your way down, I guess. So maybe Miss Jones will be up next.
Oh, Lord. No.
Baltimore is the bottom of the pile, so Amber Young or Brandon Ace may be the last interview we ever do. And it might be put on a time, but nobody ever watches it. Anyway. I think we should get this underway as we're now 2 minutes in. So I'd like to introduce to you, well, she's Miss Jones. Here she is on the mic. Welcome.
Thank you, boss.
You're meant to hear that, Brandon Ace. It's not like I said it out of turn, you know, and not thinking you were going to maybe catch this at some point.
No one's hiding anything, Mr. Ace.
This is a warts and all interview. Oh no, there's no warts going on. Anyway, this is a big interview here. We're going to get down to the boss.
Those sorts of things, Mr. Wolf.
I'd like to have asked to me, send them to Miss Jones via Skype. This isn't going to be long. This is going to be just a small interview just to get this test in the water.
Oh, so I wasn't supposed to come with 17 pages of notes? You didn't tell me that.
Damn. Anyway, let's get going. Here we go. Hit me with question number 1. Let's hear what people want to know.
Tell us a little bit about your life before wrestling. Where are you from?
Well, my life before wrestling. Not many people know this. I'm obviously from England, but I was actually born and raised in Scotland itself. Young age, I was in Edinburgh. I'm not gonna lie, that's where I started my youth as such. A little bit of teenage terror. Dumped off by my parents, you know, I was abandoned. I'm not gonna lie, I am technically an orphan, self-made, and that is where I started from. Is Edinburgh raising hell. Hence my love for Scotch and mayhem as such, causing issues. So there you go, you get to know a little bit about me. I'm from Edinburgh, Scotland, but moved down to England to, well, cause some havoc down here instead.
Good to know. On that note, you wear the badge of cunt proudly. What does that mean to you?
It means 0 fucks given. I will speak how I like, to who I like, whenever the fuck I like, and not give 0 fucks about what people think. If people don't like me, they don't like me. If you like me for who I am, then that's fine. But don't expect me to go out of my way for you if you won't go out of your way for me. I am a cunt. Simple as.
Thank you for that. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I expected.
I'm pretty sure.
When did you first become a wrestling fan?
Well, let's see. In the UK, we didn't get much of WWE unless you were one of these families that had many channels in the early days of cable TV. So the closest we would get is Channel 4 bringing you WWE Heat. So that was my first tasting of wrestling entertainment itself, other than, well, some of the small stuff you see locally as such. But grand scale WWE Sunday Heat on TV was the opening eye to it all.
Alright. How did you get into the wrestling business?
Well, as I said, I caused a bit of hell. Eventually got myself focused after winning a few little fights as such. Maybe not strictly legal, but put money in my pocket either way. And decided that if it wasn't boxing, then I needed to take things further. MMA wasn't really a big deal at this point, so wrestling was the next big thing. And, well, a few cage matches later and started making a little name for myself around the local circuit. And here we are today.
Favorite scotch?
Ooh, too many to name, but it's going to be my Glen Grunt Major's Reserve. It's about an 18-year-old. It's fucking delicious. That's my first pick. If you have a question, Brandon Ace, you've got to send it into Miss Jones.
Alright. We have a question from the audience.
Ooh, here we go. This is where they get interesting.
Who is your favorite wrestler not in a company that you work for? So I'm assuming they mean someone in a larger multinational.
Digital wrestling era of this, I assume.
Yes, someone else.
Someone else. At the moment, I have to say I admire what Kenny Omega's done. He's put on some great matches. He's done this without having the big fucking fanfare of WWE behind him. He's got out there, he's got recognised. Put on some hell of a matches. I know fucking someone inflates him a little bit higher than maybe he deserves sometimes, but hey, that's what that guy gets paid a shit ton of money to do. But yeah, Kenny Omega would be my first. Other than that, I would love to maybe mix it up with Pete Dunne or Aleister Black. But yeah, that's where I'd go at the moment.
Excellent. If you weren't a wrestler, or in wrestling, since you don't wrestle anymore, what would you be doing?
Porn. No. Yeah, well, let's face it. I'm good for two things. Fighting and fucking. And anything that falls in between there, well, hey, they're grey areas. So yeah, if it wasn't wrestling, it'd probably be porn.
Suddenly very warm in here.
You can unbutton that blouse a bit more if you like, love. I don't mind. Shit, HR again, fuck.
And you've already got a meeting coming up with the board of directors. I'd watch myself if I were you.
Yeah, I'm regretting these interviews already. Go ahead, next question.
What made you want to run your own promotion?
Well, to run my own promotion, to be honest, money, power, the right to determine what way a show is run, which people get the push, how I want to run those pushes, instead of having some numpty storyboard fucking crew who can't fucking think up anything on their own, reuse the same shit over and over again. And I decided it was time to get out of the ring and get into the boardroom as such, and start doing things my way. I was lucky enough to have a financial backer to help me get started.
And that would have been Mr. Vane from Ruthless Inc., if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Mr. Vane did put a large cash injection to move me from a rinky-dink little fucking school gym to a little bit of a bigger premises to get started. And it just carried on growing from there.
of, how did you get involved with Ruthless Inc?
Ruthless Inc. Well, that goes down to one Bill Haight. Me and him, while working with another promotion, Mr. Blaze McCoy's LTD, that's leaning towards death. Well, we struck up a bit of a rivalry. And eventually that rivalry turned into respect, and I was drafted into Ruthless Inc. So, I became one of the numbers.
What would you say Ruthless Inc is to you? Is it just a means to an end? Are they your friends? How do you feel about the people in Ruthless Inc?
Well, individually, they, each one comes with their own issues, you know. There's David Ruin, it's a fucking liability at times, but he's a good man to have standing behind you. Bill Haight, I'd class almost as a brother, you know. I don't have any brothers, so this is as close as it gets to brotherhood as such, and sisterhood with Minerva and, well, Cotton Candy. I wouldn't really call that a sister, I'd call that a kissing cousin almost. We know how Cotton is.
Alright. What makes the UKWF different from other promotions?
What makes UKWF... Well, it's run by a cunt, first of all. Not many other promotions are run by a cunt. Everyone's quite nice and polite. Don't get me wrong, I'll be nice and talk nicely to people, but the company's run by a cunt. So that's what makes UKWF different. Not only that, it's the way I run my rankings. I don't know another show that runs their ranking system the way I do. Which is what makes me individual. I will give people negative points. If you're not winning and you keep losing, you're going to end up being negative, and that's for you to sort out. That's for your way to fucking build yourself up again. Be it being getting back in the gym, changing up your moves, working with someone. I don't know, but you need to figure out a way to get up. So
I've heard Mr. Carnegie belaboring the point that you do give negative points, which
I know,
seems to find very unfair.
Mr. Carnegie doesn't like my negative point system, but it's a means to an end. It's to take the or separate the weak from the chaff, you know, the strong from the chaff, you know, the shit that we don't really need. And if you don't pick yourself up, then, well, law of the jungle, only the strong survive. So there we go.
Fan question.
Oh.
If you had a fantasy dream match against someone from past, present, or future, who would it be and why?
Past, present. To pick one of each.
You can if you like. It's your
Right.
interview.
Ooh. Present. Like I've named him already as my number one. Then obviously that was Kenny Omega, but in that bracket I've already said Kenny Omega, Pete Dunne, Aleister Black. Those are sorts of matches I would like to get involved in. Hard hitting matches, you know. They don't pull no punches. Kenny Omega, if he hits you with that V trigger, you're gonna fucking know about it. Pete Dunne, another hard-hitting British strong style wrestling. Aleister Black, well, that fucker could kick you 3 ways to Sunday. So one of those 3 would be ideal for myself. Past. Well, he was a favourite of mine when I was growing up, and he was the big boss man. So I would, if I was going to go out there, I would have to go out there to kick Big Boss Man's ass. And as for future, well, there is a young man by the name of Callum Newman on the scene. I have shared some information about him. I do believe he does have the potential to go somewhere. I'd like to slap him up a bit, slap him down a bit, you know. Teach him a lesson or two. He could flip around all he fucking likes, but he ain't gonna flip around once someone's whipped the shit out of your leg, you know. But there you go. Past, present, and future. Big Boss Man, Kenny Omega, Aleister Black or Pete Dunne, any of those 3, and this Callum Newman kid. Check him out, please. There we go.
Mr. Bastage, that's very rude.
Fuck you, bastard.
That is an interesting question, though, Mr. Wolf. I know the answer to this because I've seen the paperwork, but I think the fans probably have no idea how old you actually are. You never talk about that.
And that's because I don't need to talk about that. They don't need to know how old I am, but let's just say I'm older than some, I'm younger than others, aka Mordred Nightwalker and some of the others around there, but I'm old enough to maybe have a few bastards out there myself. Who knows? But yeah, I'm old enough. I'm legal, let's put it that way. That's all that matters.
I don't think there's any question about that.
Well, no.
Alright, back to business. The UKWF has expanded quite a lot in the last year or so. To what do you attribute your growing success?
I would, if I'm being honest, I would put it down to the wrestlers themselves. The talent that's been brought in. There are some new fresh faces that haven't been in the company before. There are some returning faces, you know, who have gone out there and done whatever for other companies and then come back. Yeah, I would put it down to the actual roster itself, and if it wasn't for the roster, then there wouldn't be a show. I would have to bring in God knows how many jobbers from fucking Scotland, England, Wales, and the back ends of God knows where else, you know. But thanks to the roster I've managed to accumulate, the show keeps growing.
Is there anyone that used to be on the roster that's left that you wish you could get back? Other than the ones you've already brought back in? Yeah.
That is a question. Don't get me wrong, yes and no. Some of my past champions, I've still got a belt out there that's doing the fucking rounds with some fucking Geordie cunt, aka Kevin Stevens, you know, he's run off with my King of the North title. I will get that fucker back at some point. Would I like to see him back in the company? I'd like to see him, yes, maybe just so I could watch him get beaten up. But long term, I think the ones that have left, yeah, they've left for a reason. And yeah, I think that's all I need, you know. I would like to bring in more, but unfortunately roster limits limit me to who I can and can't have. Who knows, if I'm here next year, maybe we'll have a different type of roster. Who knows what's going to come next year if we're here.
On the note of your roster, who's the easiest person in the UKWF to work with? Who doesn't give you any problems? Model employee, besides myself, of course.
Well, the boys from Ruthless don't normally give me any problems. That's because normally they're whipped into line by Max Vane. If not, Bill Haight slaps a couple, if I don't slap him with a fish first, that is. I don't normally get much problems from Johnny Winston and Griffith Davy, and they try and calm things down a bit when things get a little bit tense, you know. I don't really hear much issues from most of Eternity. So Mordred Nightwalker seems to be keeping them under his thumb and in their sheep pen. I mean, in their pen, yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, no, right. I have to say that's how it is at the moment.
Contrarily wise, who gives you the most problems?
Who gives me the most problems? I think we all know the answer to that without me even opening my mouth on that one. I wouldn't say it's really a problem, but he's like a fucking gnat. You want to fucking kill it when it's buzzing around your ear sometimes. But that would be Brandon Ace. Whether it be that he wants to turn up with new ring attire, whether he wants to work and bring in some new fucking moves that he wants to get cleared before he uses them, you know, God willing, he has the most enthusiastic mind out there. He wants to fucking change up, he wants to keep evolving, but I can't go 2 weeks without hearing from him, and it's about 5 or 6 messages. Don't get me wrong, there we have it.
Alright. Is there really something between you and Amber Young?
There is nothing between me and Amber Young. Never has, never will be. It's just a running joke I've had for God knows. Amber, shh, shh. No, there's nothing going on between Amber Young and me.
Is there anything that you'd like to implement in the UKWF that you haven't been able to get started?
I have something coming soon, which is gonna rock the foundations of UKWF and Free Lions Wrestling. I don't know how much I want to release on that just yet. But, no, there's nothing right this second I'd like to change up a great deal. Like I said, there'll be a few faces maybe go, a few faces come in, who knows, you know, that's the way the roster works sometimes. People want to leave and work on other projects. I've got 2 currently on my desk that are asking for their leave to go work and stay in Japan and carry on working. More news will come on that when the time is right. I do have a couple faces who are looking to make a name for themselves on their arrival within UKWF and Free Lions Wrestling when we get back. Yeah, what I'd like the most is this tournament is going to be a big thing, and that's the one that's hardest to keep going. So I'd like to implement more tournament matches if I could on the regular. But yeah, that's it. There we go.
What's been the best part of the Japan tour for you?
Are we talking ring work, or are we talking just for Japan tour in general? Being able to put a pay-per-view on in the Tokyo Dome has been obviously the highlight of the whole fucking thing. Having Free Lions Wrestling and UKWF going champ for champ has been a big deal. Especially putting it onto the stage here for these Japanese fans that may not have known much about UKWF and Free Lions Wrestling first. So that's probably the biggest highlight of the whole fucking thing. Yeah, Bill, okay. I wasn't going to talk about that. Yeah, okay, well, the best highlight outside is obviously going for a little bar crawl with some of the Ruthless Inc. boys. As you may have been aware when David Ruin came down to the restaurant area the other day. Yes. Yeah, I heard that he gave you and Griffith Davian a nice surprise. You didn't order the sausage for breakfast, did you?
No.
The Tongan sausage does come in many shapes and sizes, but that one seems to come in a foot long at least. But yeah, well, so yeah, the little bar crawls that me and Bill and David have been going on while we're here have been interesting, that's for sure. And obviously the culture and everything else we've absorbed while out and about.
Anything go badly during the tour?
Oh, shh, don't love cookies. It's not called a cookie. Let's see. I don't know if anyone else heard that or not. Let's see, anything that's gone wrong on this tour. No, I think everything seems to have been run smoothly enough, apart from this whole fucking Lagunja running amok out back during this, but... Well, Bill hates obviously saying that losing his title is a big issue, but if he had a stronger head, that wouldn't have been an issue. Maybe it's all that fish slapping we've been doing recently. But, yeah, no, I'd say everything's been fine. Losing a member of the roster is not nice, but... that was ruthless business, and I stay out of that when I'm in my promoter head, as such.
Is it hard for you to separate your personal affection for Ruthless from your role as a promoter and trying to stay impartial?
No. No, I know that if I want to succeed, and they know if this is going to be the money spinner that they hope it to be, they need that impartiality. Yes, okay, they may whisper in my ear and ask, well, how about we have this match or this, that and the other? Well, why wouldn't you if you've got someone who's a member of Ruthless running their own company? But they know for a fact that isn't really going to happen. You know, unless I see the sense in the match, it's not coming out.
Let's get another question from the fans. Somewhat. What is your honest opinion of Marcus Johnson?
My honest opinion of I wonder who asked that. Marcus Johnson. Okay, here we go. He calls himself the Juggernaut. But I've got wrestlers in the super heavyweight that dwarf him. So how can you call yourself a Juggernaut when you're not, you know what I mean, a Juggernaut? You're about as big as, well, David Ruin's leg. And I'm not talking about the one you saw for breakfast. But there we go. Marcus Johnson, I believe, he's a good wrestler. He's powerful. He's fast. Technically, yeah, he's pretty good. But do I believe he should be calling himself the Juggernaut? No. I think he needs to find a new shtick. That's my honest opinion.
What does the rest of 2019 hold for the UKWF?
Well, again, I touch on what I didn't talk about earlier. But there will be something that's going to shake up the whole of UKWF and Three Lions Wrestling. That's still to come. That will be coming once we get back to the UK. Obviously, we have a few pay-per-views to get through. The goodbye show from UKWF and Three Lions Wrestling come the end of the season. That will be a big blowout, and I'll look to get everyone involved as much as I can in that. It will be a case of, well, if I can find a way to get you into a match, it will be my big blowout show, and you deserve to be involved, you know. It might be the last show of UKWF Three Lions Wrestling, who knows, you know, if we get there. But right now I've got to focus on what's coming with the board meeting that I've been summoned to.
I don't think any of us are really looking forward to that.
No, I know Mr. Fredrickson's certainly a little bit nervous considering he's not been with the company that long.
Well, pressing on. Another question from the audience. How excited are you to have Chance Nightwalker wrestling for you now?
I wonder who asked fucking that one. Well, I was excited to get a hold of Lagunja after watching highlight videos and having the scout reports come back on him. Little did I know that it was a fucking Nightwalker underneath that mask. Like I've always stated, you're always just two people away from a Nightwalker, and well, there he is. He was hiding in plain fucking sight. So yes, I'm excited to see what the fucking Nightwalker brings to the brand of whichever one he lands at. In fact, we don't actually know which company or which side of the roster he's going to land in. Just like him, Wolf Turgaviste, Tatsujin, all unsigned at the moment. Akira, unsigned to a roster. Bubs, unsigned to a roster. You know, these people need to be assigned, and we need to find them a spot and see where this is going to lead.
I'm certainly excited about all the new hires and looking forward to seeing who ends up on my roster.
Yes.
And a related question, and I was asked specifically to read this word for word.
Word for word, oh dear.
How do you feel about the New Age Assholes, the new team made by Chance Nightwalker and Caleb James, the hottest thing in the UKWF right now?
How do I feel about the New Age Assholes? Well, it's the first I've heard of them, so, well, I'm going to feel indifferent at the moment until I see the paperwork cross my desk, and it seems like Chance Nightwalker is trying to get himself aligned with the Three Lions Wrestling roster so he can join up with Caleb James. So maybe that one's solved already. A new tag team in the division. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. It should shake things up a bit. The Entrepreneurs currently sit there. No, they don't. Shit. The Entrepreneurs sit there currently #1 contenders, I believe, but not with the belts. So we'll have to wait and see how they shake up the division. And,
Oh, Mr. Vane's come in. Good evening, Mr. Vane.
yeah, hi boss. Sir. vein, Mr. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Mr. Ace wants to know if you're planning on having a draft in the future.
I cannot confirm or deny the rumours of a draft in the future. That is as simple as that. And he may well be UKWF. I'm not looking at my roster right now, and without that in front of me, I couldn't tell you who's who. So yes, Caleb, you may be transferred to Free Lines Wrestling. I might just be
very hard before this interview.
Yeah, I pre-gamed hard by drinking 3 cans of beer and a couple bottles of scotch. That's how good my pre-game is. Just ask Brandon Ace's mum. Anyway, no, actually, no.
Oh my.
But anyway, yeah. So, is there going to be a draft? Who knows? It could be something to bring in. It might not. It all depends on.
So you heard it here first, folks. That's a definite maybe.
No. But maybe. Who knows? There may be a draft. I've yet to see what's going to happen when I get to this boardroom. I may not be here to implement anything any further.
Right. I'm being asked if you're planning on ever hiring someone called Camilla. Do I want to know?
No, you don't want to know. And I don't think the UKWF and Free Lions Wrestling is ready for Camilla. I don't think anywhere other than Savage Warfare is ready for Camilla.
Oh, that's certainly a thing. Oh. Apparently, I'm now supposed to ask you why you haven't opened the women's division to get burned down by someone calling herself Valeria DeLuca.
Valeria DeLuca? That sounds like a Veruca cream. First I've heard of her. Nobody's ever contacted me about her. So
I certainly am not familiar with this person.
This person hasn't come across my my desk. And I don't mean that's not her laid across my desk, giving herself a good interview. I mean that I've not heard anything about this woman, so therefore I couldn't say why or why not. I haven't been given her a job.
Which up-and-comer wrestler on either show do you think has the most potential?
Ooh, up and coming. So you're talking someone who's new, not someone who's been here since last season as such. So there's a few which are certainly doing alright for themselves. I expected from what I'd seen of him outside of UKWF. Victor Mason had already been here. Thanks very much for shouting his name out in the audience there. So he's not a new up and coming. Yeah, so let's face it, it's a hard choice as such. There's so many talents out there. Molly Shamrock has certainly impressed me this season. She's certainly coming out as a brawler and someone who's constantly evolving their game. Caleb James, again, another one who's, well, he's kind of skyrocketed up. And now he seems to be on a bit of a descent. So maybe this whole New Age arseholes is the thing to level him out and maybe get him to rise up again. If not, Viagra is always the answer. So Bassage tells me.
What are you most proud of in your career as a wrestler?
Oof. The amount of companies I've gone around and managed to set my name so I'm a stable member of the roster as such. A staple member of the roster, should I say, not stable. I'm certainly not stable. But yeah, like LTD, I've managed to come away with a tag team title twice now. Been several champions over there, obviously not having great success Sacrifice, I managed to pick up the international title. Maverick, well, hit and miss over there, but either way, I've managed to get myself, and I've been an integral part of their rosters as such. I'm not someone who's just swept under the carpet or dragged out every now and again.
What about your career as a promoter?
Is my career in a promoter? Well, this is pretty big. Getting across the sea into Japan. I've been to America, Japan, the UK. Who knows? We may travel once again for another pay-per-view. Come summertime. The Beach Brawl. We may take flight one more time and find ourselves a sunny beach across the sea somewhere to kick back, relax, and then beat the shit out of each other at. Sounds pretty good to me.
I might know a guy.
I'm sure you do. And he may know a guy who knows a guy but knows another guy, but eventually something may get sorted. Who knows? But there's also talk of there's another thing that's actually I'm looking forward to maybe working out, is a joint venture with ASWF and Derek Silver. He approached me, we've had a meeting, there's been talks, and yeah, we could be holding a joint venture in the future where ASWF and UKWF combine for 1, 2, maybe 3 nights, who knows, and we'll see what kind of dream matches we can pull out of the air on those ones.
Interesting. Alright, I've got 2 fan questions that I'm going to ask you together because I feel like they're complementary.
Okay.
Why do you hate Brandon Ace so much, and what do you think his potential is? And also, how often do you have to fight the urge to slap the stupid out of Brandon Ace?
If you could see my desk and the amount of marks underneath where I'm holding my hands underneath, then that question would answer itself. Brandon Ace, I don't hate the bloke. Hate is a strong word. He just draws out that little part of me that wants to grab him by the throat and slam him down to the ground, and then, yeah. But Brandon Ace, well, like I said, he's like a gnat sometimes, buzzing around your fucking ear, and you just want to fucking kill it. But his potential, he has potential, if he would just focus. If he focused on being a singles wrestler, a tag team wrestler, just narrow yourself down. He's trying to spread himself across everything, pick up every single belt that there is. That's my own. That's my opinion.
Is there anyone in the digital era that you would like to pick up that you don't yet have on your roster?
Ooh, anyone out there in the digital era? Well, there is a certain man who has made a resurgence, should I say, in Platinum Dragging Wrestling. He's a bit of a nightmare, apparently. And that would be one Adam Guerin. I wouldn't mind trying to grab a hold of him at some point. And I don't mean that in any other way than get him to sign a bit of paper. I'm sorry, dude, you're not my type. You've got a cock. I don't know, there's maybe like a few others that I've seen popping up around places, like Drum Monkey's out there. I've seen him, he's been popping up in companies now and seems to be doing something for himself. So who knows, there may be some more surprises come along the way when spots open up.
Being asked, how do you feel about the team of Sweet Vibrations?
Ooh, Sweet Vibrations. Well, I know you have a nice time with Sweet Vibrations.
They are very charming gentlemen.
And, well, Dr. Anus Tickler, I mean Mean Joey Green. Dr. Anus Tickler is his fun time persona, I've heard. But Sweet Vibrations, no, I've had no issues with them. They're a great bunch. You know, they like to fucking party just as much as I do, so how could I hate them for that?
well, the last prepared question I have for you. Are there any regrets or missed opportunities in your life? Things that you wish you could go back and change?
Oh, fucking hell. Stick the sword to me, shit.
I did not promise to be gentle.
Well, neither do I ever, but that's another story. Do I have any regrets? Is that in my life as a whole, or is in my wrestling promoter or wrestling career?
Your life as a whole.
My life as a whole. I maybe wish I hadn't give such a fuck about what my parents truly thought to why they abandoned me the way they did. But that soon got drunk and everything out of me, so that's maybe a regret, I suppose. Another story is maybe, well, who knows, I might have a kid out there, and the fact that I'm not around for it, my legacy to continue as such, you know, I'm no better than my own parents in that fact, maybe. Yeah, no, that's probably about it, to be honest. That's... Maybe I've got a bastard son or daughter out there, or a few, that I maybe could have been around more. But that would be my main regret, is if that was true. Because, well...
You sound like you're not really sure one way or the other about that.
No, I'm not. Let's be honest. Yeah, that's a touchy subject, obviously, on that one. But yeah, when it comes to being a promoter, my regrets, well, maybe signing a few people that have turned out to be more trouble than they're worth. Or not really involved as much as they should be after wanting to be involved. So yeah, they're my only regrets. There we go.
Alright. Got another question from the audience. If you could have hired the Baltimoreans as anything but wrestlers, what would they really be doing under the UKWF 3LW umbrella?
That's Brandon Ace, Amber Young, Marcus Johnson, and Warren Benjamin.
Baltimore.
Well, they were the Baltimore's finest. Trying to bite my tongue on what I wanted to say from the start. So if that was how it was going to work out, well, Marcus Johnson and Warren Benjamin would be, I'd have to say security. Stick them in front of a door somewhere. Give them a list and they might be able to follow it. When it comes to Brandon Ace, bathroom attendant. Hand me a fresh towel, boy. No spray, or no, what was it? No splash, no gash. It's normally the one I'm normally thrown at that when I'm at in the clubs. You know, maybe a bathroom attendant. Maybe he'd actually, he'd be good behind a concession stand. But Amber Young, now where would we put her on a hot dog stall? And that's enough I've said about that one.
Alright, and a slight variation on the question we had earlier. If you could have any fantasy match booked in UKWF 3LW, who would it be? Now, I'm not sure if they mean who would you like to face, or just what arrangement would you like to see that you haven't already booked?
Ooh, Drum Monkey. I need someone to sell Sexual Revolution t-shirts, so that would be a good shout. But I don't know if she's sexually released enough to do that. Could I book any match in my own company? Well, if I was booking a match for me to fight, well, there's a few names that obviously creep up, a few of the more known wrestlers as such. So let's face it, there's the Griffith Davian, there's the Mordred Nightwalker, the Pete Wall, D-Train, Bill Haight, you know, the more known out there. If I wanted to face someone who's up and coming and maybe give them a shot, ooh, let's see, who would I go with? Jesus. Well, Tatchin interests me. Not only that, I'd have to say, well, maybe some of the newer ones that are coming in. Chance Nightwalk would be an interesting fight. I don't think that's happened too often. But yeah, no, I'd have to say that those were my main picks. You know, some of the more known members of the rosters out there who are spanning many companies as such. I'd like to get mixed in, maybe like do a big brawl inside a steel cage. Now that sounds interesting. But there we go.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, I got another fan question. Who would you like to see the New Age assholes beat for the tag team championships?
Well, I'd like them to have a match first to see if they earn the right to go for the tag team championships. Let's see, who have we got? We've got the Last Train Robbers, or we've got... Fuck, just had a match tonight. Jesus, this beer's done me in. Last Train Robbers, and they went up against... I've got it right here in front of me. Jesus Christ, the Angry Assholes. Well, why not? The Angry Assholes versus the New Age Assholes. Let's book that. That would be a good match to see, would it not? Asshole on asshole entertainment.
Question from a fan calling themselves King in the North, saying, how bad do you want the belt back?
Excuse me? King in the
Someone
North.
calling themselves King in the North says, how bad do you want the belt back? I'm assuming they're referring to your King of the North belt.
Well, maybe they want to come down to my office and have a little discussion about that belt then. If you want to call yourself the King of the North, you need to earn that fucking right. Interesting. Well, we'll see where that develops soon then, if they actually want to step up and speak some more.
Let's see. Someone wants to know how you feel about Haas and how he's doing in the super heavyweight division.
Well, Haas has come in and he's run through most of it like a fucking freight train, let's put it bluntly. He came in with a Hex Legion, which... I think since leaving the Hex Legion, he's become better. More focused. He hasn't got something in his ears fucking talking to him.
Oh. I'm sorry, boss. I'm just slightly distracted.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely say that Haas has come along more since leaving the Hex Legion. I am interested to see how long he can hold on to that belt for. Didn't do too nicely tonight, obviously taking a count-out loss to D-Train. Not showing his ring awareness there, so still a bit green, shall we say. Still a little bit to be developed.
Boss, are you seeing the chat too?
I'm seeing something from someone.
On the subject of the Hex Legion, Aradia's been doing very well for herself.
Again.
What do you think has been the big change in her?
Leaving the Hex Legion, not having Morgan Hex and Sylvia Hex in their ears has been the big change for them. Maybe relieving themselves of the voices that were whispering to them during matches has changed things, I guess. Like I said again, she's another one who's came in and she's run through the division at points like a fucking freight train. There's that KO belt is hard to get off her when she gets a hold of it. It's like she's got a head full of fucking rocks.
Having a hard head does come in handy in that division.
Having a hard head always comes in handy.
No comment.
Gonna make you blush again, Miss Jones.
You always make me blush, boss. I can't help it, I'm a redhead. How do you think Brandon and Amber have been doing since they left Baltimore's Finest? Speaking of people leaving stables.
Amber Young, well, when it comes to the tournament, she's been sucking like a bag of dicks. She's yet to win a match in the tournament. Well, yeah, she's yet to win a tournament match. She's come away with 3 losses so far, so she needs to turn around pretty fucking sharp if she's got a hope in head of calling herself the best of the women. As for her form in the division, she's doing reasonably okay. Brandon Ace, again, is building himself slowly since leaving Baltimore. Took him a while to find his feet after being nut shot by Amber Young, and yeah.
Any plans to come back to Scotland for shows?
Yes. I plan on returning home. I plan to going back to Edinburgh. Once I can find a venue which will be able to host a event such as this. But yes, I plan on coming back to Edinburgh.
Cotton Candy has a question.
Cotton Candy has a oh fuck, that's dangerous.
She says, I know I'm sexy, but do you know I am sexy? If so, how sexy am I?
As sexy as you feel, Cotton Candy. As sexy as you feel. That's as best an answer you're getting out of me, because Bill's around.
Wow.
I guess we've got no more questions
we've
then.
got a couple more.
Oh, we've got more.
Looks like a couple of people are still trying to get them in.
Okay, people trying to get it in now is a surprise, eh?
You know how much people love sneaking into my DMs.
Well, people love sliding into your DMs.
I'm just very grateful I haven't gotten any questions about your sex life.
Give Brandon Ace some time. I'm sure something will come up.
Alright, if the UKWF hooks up with the ASWF for a joint show, does that mean that the whole roster will go, or will they have to compete for the right to fight on the joint show?
That is yet to be determined on how that will be discussed going forward. It may be because some talent is shared with the ASWF, so they may automatically qualify to be a part of the show, obviously, because they hold dual contracts with each show. As for talent which is not signed to ASWF, well, only time will tell. It's yet to be fully decided how this show is going to work out. Maybe it will be one night will be ASWF only, another night will be UKWF and Free Lions Wrestling, and maybe one other night will be UKWF versus Battleforge versus Firestorm versus Free Lions Wrestling. Fatal 4-ways all round. Who knows?
Interesting. Sounds like there are some big things there that are going to be exciting.
Well, me and Mr. Derek Silver need to finish our discussion on how that's all going to work, but all we can say is stay tuned and bear with us. Something will come to fruition, hopefully, and we'll go from there.
Oh my.
You didn't just get another dick pic, did you?
No, thank God. How much did Max Vane pay you to get the hoe signed? We all know she's not good in the ring, and look at what she did to poor Raven. You sold out, you cunt.
Look at what she did to Raven. She made Raven tap out while she was on her back. She made Raven a tag team champion. They were a long reigning tag team champions. Cotton Candy has held the women's KO title several times. So therefore I can't exactly say she's not really useful. And well, let's face it, the occasional bit of eye candy helps get people watching your screen sometimes, you know?
Alright, Mr. Nightwalker, the younger Chance, wants to ask a question for you and Mr. Haight.
Okay.
He specifically wants me to read it word for word. What the hell gives, guys? How many times do I need to kick Bill's glass jaw before I get a ruthless call? Does Omar think my cigars aren't good enough? And then he just trails off into incoherent crying and babbling.
Well, Mr. Nightwalker, like younger, we need to decide that. Ruthless now has a board of directors who vote who is worthy and who is not. People may ask Ruthless to join, but there is a board of directors whose votes on such matters. So maybe you need to consult just more than Bill and Omar if you want to join Ruthless that bad.
Oh, let's see here.
Drum Monkey, it's you, you pervert. It might happen.
Mr. Tirgavish, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just responding to a heckle from Drum Monkey. That was all. Anyway.
Mr. Tirgavish wants to know when he'll find out which brand he's on.
You will find out which brand you're on when we return to the UK. Myself, Miss Jones, and Mr. Fredrickson will be having a discussion to see where you would best fit, and then you will be placed and let known.
What are you looking for in new talent acquisitions?
Ooh. I'm looking for something I've not seen before now. I'm looking for, well, a style which isn't used over and over. Maybe I need to bring in more diversity with my roster. I have a lot of Americans. I have a lot of Canadians. I don't have many. I have a few Brits. I have one Scots, not including myself because I don't count. I have one Scotsman, and that's Gord Sin. So maybe I need to look further up north again. So maybe when we go up north, we'll acquire someone, or maybe I need to go. Well, we've got one Frenchman, and that's enough actually. So yeah, maybe I need to look at a bit more diversity as such where my roster is coming from. Like we said, we just picked up a couple in Japan. Akira returning to the company, Tatsujin returning, or joining the company, not returning. So yeah.
Which women's tag team in 3LW do you think has the potential to beat Fate and Fury?
Which women's... Ooh. See, at one point I had my money on Legacy Express. The way they hit the roster and they came in with such an oomph, shall I say, for lack of better words. I think that was the team I was expecting maybe to come in and rock Fate and Fury. They still could.
What do you attribute the ladies' success?
Fate and Fury? I think it's the combinations of style at the end of the day. Minerva is, well, let's face it, she's a hard hitting, will then eventually try and break you by stretching you out in what I can only say is pleasing on the eye ways. But no, I'd say, and then Maddie, well, we know how vicious those bear fucking hugs are. Not only that, but she's a solid striker. So I think their styles complement each other, and it's slightly awkward that they're ruthless and in eternity, but they seem to make it work at the moment. So that's what I'd atone their standings as such.
from a fan, you said Ruthless whispers in your ear for matches. Have they ever asked for title matches, or have they ever really worked to get the titles, or have they really worked to get the titles they have held and currently hold?
Everybody who has held a title has worked and earned it. Nobody has been given a title under just friendship, fucking backhanders, etc. You've either earned it, or there's been a stipulation, you've won something which has got you a title shot. I don't give out title shots willy-nilly, because I've got to be able to explain myself now to a board of directors as to why this team is in the title frame. And if I can't explain that, then my head is on the chopping block.
So you're saying that the board of directors would have the ability to remove you?
Yes, the board of directors, if there was a large enough vote, would be able to remove Ulmarwolf from his position. So,
I'm sure they'd never do anything like that.
Max Vane holds a, well, here's the truth about Max Vane, right? I'm going to lay it out there now. Max Vane, as you know, invested in the company from the start, got me to where I got started, I grew. But eventually I was earning enough money to almost pay him off, as such, through tickets in the doors. But I decided that it would be better to have him on the board of directors, so instead of fully paying him off, he now holds seats in the board of directors, so he earns money constantly as a revenue stream from the UKWF and Three Lions Wrestling. Instead of having his investment plus a little interest back, he now has a constant cash flow from the company. So at the moment I have someone in the board of directors who doesn't have a big swing on whether I keep my job or not, but has the ability to maybe keep me where I am, if he can get someone else to side with him, or a couple others to side with him.
Interesting. A question from a member of the roster who wishes to remain anonymous. Whose rack is better, yours or Minerva's?
Look down at my chest and I would have to say Minerva's. Oh, you don't mean that rack? Oh, that rack. I don't know, to be honest. We'd have to test that theory out. A rack off. No? No, because that just sounds, I'd be in HR again. Well, in my company I'd have to say Minerva's, but anywhere else, well, I vote that people need to decide that for themselves. I think my rack has been slightly more successful than Minerva's has, as a whole, but that's probably because I've been around longer than Minerva, so that's hard to call.
Is there anyone you would like to see join Ruthless who isn't already there?
There's been many a name brought up to join Ruthless who isn't already there. But it's not just down to me, and I wouldn't want to speculate a name and then it gets shut down by the rest of the board. So I will refuse to comment on that one.
Alright, well, it looks like we've reached the end of our questions. I'll give the fans another minute or two to make sure there's nothing else that's burning on their hearts.
Well, this was rather painless in the end. I was expecting more shots.
I mean, don't encourage them.
Well, then they've got a little bit more personal than I expected. This King of the North guy wants to fucking rub me up the wrong way, it seems, so I'm quite interested in where that's going to go. I hear someone heckling, I think Ryan would be a pretty good addition. Ryan is who?
I think that says Rain, boss.
Oh, does it? Damn,
Some
I was
friend
just...
of Mr. James's, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Oh, we do have some more questions.
No interest in rubbing anything, just want a shot. You want a shot at what? What do you actually, what are you hoping for, King of the North?
Mr. Ruin wants to know, where is that fuck with your title?
I would like to know where he is as well. Last I heard, he was moving back to mixed martial arts fighting, working his way, so only time will tell. Inverness at the moment, you motherfucker. You know more about me than I fucking expected, you cunt. Interesting.
Moving on, what made Josh Wright want to join the light heavyweight division? Did Mr. Wright give you any information on why he decided to drop weight and switch divisions?
Mr. Wright believed that the light heavyweight division would be a better fit. Also the fact that Ruthless didn't really have a light heavyweight as such. You know, you've got Bill, Matt Outlaw in the UK weight, you've got D-Train and Flatline as it stands in the super heavyweights. So Ruthless didn't have any representation in the light heavyweight division, so Josh Wright decided maybe it was time to step up.
Mr. Davian.
Keep him in line, would you?
I don't keep anyone in line, boss. That's not part of my job description.
And the answer to that is Griff, 0. I'm tested regularly and I keep myself clean. And I'm a bit selective on what I stick my dick in.
Amber Young notwithstanding.
Boulder Dash. So yes, that was Josh Wright's thinking behind it all. And Griffith Davian, if you were listening to the entire interview, you would realise that Amber Young is nothing but a running joke. Not that I've actually put my penis inside her.
Mr. Vane has a question. He wants to know, why do I keep getting billed for so many damn fish to the Ruthless account?
Ask Bill Haight is my honest answer. He started it, and that's where I'm leaving it. So, Bill, that's one's all yours, mate.
Oh, more questions. What is your personal opinion on Air Chaos? I suppose that's a little personal, considering that half of Air Chaos just left, but...
Ooh, yeah, we hadn't actually announced that bit yet. That was for 2 members of the roster that were...
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. So, there you have it. Air Chaos is now split in half. Lucius West and Maggie West have decided that they are going to stay in Japan, and Feck is now all alone. So my thoughts on Air Chaos are null and void, because I don't need to give any thoughts on Air Chaos as its own. So there's your announcement that we're going to bring to you later. Air Chaos is no more.
My mistake, boss.
But there we have it. No problem. It was going to come out at some point.
Questions come in.
And that was Air Chaos thing, not any HR shit.
I will, speaking of running jokes, I will let everyone know that Mr. Wolf actually has very few HR complaints.
Yes, they're paid off before they get anywhere near them. I mean, no, they don't. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a joke as well. Honest.
That may be just about all the questions we have.
That's it, is it? Well, there we
no,
go.
I lied,
we were about to wrap up then. I was about to say that's it. And by wrap up, I don't... Yeah, anyway. Back to the question.
How do you feel about King Feck, and do you think he can do well on his own without having to ride the coattails of Lucius West?
Oh, ooh. King Feck on his own. Well, I think King Feck is going to certainly find things a lot more difficult on his own. He hasn't got someone to rely on to back him up, or to go over his matches. You know, it's going to be a new sensation for him. Sensation? No, it's not sensation. That's the burning thing he normally gets after he pees. But yeah, no, there's yeah, I think King Feck is going to find things difficult at first, but maybe it's going to be a simple thing like, let's see, who else? Brandon Ace. Brandon Ace went from having a stable behind him to going solo, and it took him a while to find his feet again, and suddenly he hit form. It'll be just a case of, will King Feck be able to do the same, or will he fade away and eventually want to leave and do his own thing as well? Who knows?
From a fan, is
Okay.
Raven now gone? Who is the new woman in Ruthless Inc.?
The new woman is yet to be announced. There will be a new woman. There is no doubt about that. But who she is, we'll watch and see.
And I've sent you a special request from the fans.
Oh, in my inbox, is it?
It is.
Oh dear, this takes me back. Right, who's ready for it then? Those of you in the know will know in the old times, last season I would say, there was a certain phrase that got thrown around by a certain group of people, me being one of them. Damn you people. Just need to get myself in the right mind. You bloody bastard, I want you bollocks deep in my fucking twat, you cunt! There we go. Enjoy. You probably won't get me to say that for a while. Can't live in the park. Ooh. King in the North, you're starting to really get under my skin. Not a good place to be.
You okay, boss?
Yeah, this King in the North is starting to, starting to push some buttons, and yeah. Interesting. This King in the North is certainly an interesting development. We'll have to wait and see where that goes.
The risk of jinxing myself yet again, I believe that maybe all the questions that the fans have for you tonight.
Right, well, I have a question for the fans. So,
oh my.
As there is no more questions for me, I'm going to throw this question out to the fans. This was episode 1 of Meet the Roster. Out of all the roster that you know has a voice, who would you like the next interview to be with? That is the question I'm throwing out to you. Out of my entire roster who has a voice, who would you like the next interview to be with? I see one Minerva. I see one.
Papadakis.
Yeah, I see one for Bill Haight. I see a random vote for Mini Wolf. I see another vote for Mordrin. Oh, first vote for Mordrin, sorry. Let's see.
Mr. Wall, dual interview with the New Age assholes.
Well, this would be an interesting way to introduce them into the roster, I suppose. There's one for Pete Wall. Okay. So, Mordrin, Bill. Bastard, you're drunk.
Mr. Bastard.
So Mordred, Pete Wall, the New Age Assholes is a joint interview. Bill Haight. Some of these may be easier than others. But Jack who?
Does he mean Mr. Bayou?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. King of the North, someone who knows you well. I don't think you know me that well. Otherwise you wouldn't keep trying to push my buttons.
Apparently he does mean Mr. Bayou.
Well, Jack Bayou is another one. Well, I'm going to put this bluntly. He's on the roster. But is he on the roster? Where is he? So, Vernon Quinn, Brandon Ace, you're just randomly throwing out random names now. Well, here you go. I'm going to tell you who's my list of potentials I wanted to see an interview from, and I want to see who actually wants to step up. So let's see if I can find my list. If not, Miss Jones, I'm sure, has it somewhere.
I have all the lists.
I don't see it. I can't find it. I certainly definitely can't find it. I don't know where I sent it, but alright, I'm going to throw out. I want an interview to be done with Mordred Nightwalker. I want an interview to be done with Bill Haight. I think that would be an interesting interview to have. Yes, we'd have to figure out the logistics on that one. I'd also like an interview done with Pete Wall, because I like to have a little bit of an insight into what the man has in that brain pan of his. Minerva would be one, obviously. Maybe Miss Jones, to see what's going on with Miss Jones.
Oh Lord, no one wants that, boss. No one wants you to do an interview with me.
This interview, possibly with the New Age Assholes, could be an interesting twist. Brandon Ace, well, there's another one. Griffith Davian. These are not in order of priority of how I want to do them. These are just in names I'm throwing out there. I'd like to get a few more women involved. So if any of the women's roster actually wants to get involved and do some interviews, actually get some questions, and we're not going to be asking you what cup size are you, what fucking size is your flaps, this, that and the other, you know. These are going to be genuine questions, although one of those may slip in every now and again. And are you single, and can I get into your DMs, and yeah. But apart from that, Maddie for an interview. Now that would be an interesting one. Nobody really hears from Maddie, but there we go. These are all ideas. This is part of why I wanted to do the interviews with Meet the Roster, so people can show themselves as their character, as their wrestler persona, so we get to know a bit more about you. You've now learned a bit more about me. This King of the North seems to know a lot about me already without me actually saying anything, so that started to fuck me off, because where the fuck this fucker's come from, I don't know, but I don't like it. There we go. Mordred Nightwalker says he'd be up for it. Samael, now that would be an interesting one to find out where he fucking come from. But apart from that, I think it's just time we need to yeah, I think we need to wrap this up. So this has been the first interview, and I think that's where we need to wrap it up. So Miss Jones, thank you very much for your time and conducting this first interview. Thank you all for taking part in the audience as such, in sending in questions. It's much appreciated. If you have an idea for someone you would like to have interviewed, send it to me. Send it to me via Skype, and I will try my best to organise something between myself, Miss Jones, and the person involved, and maybe we'll go from there. So apart from that, this is me going to say good night, be safe, be good. If you can't be good, at least be good at being bad, like myself. But this is Ulmarwolf saying goodbye. Miss Jones, take the floor. This is up to you, what you'd like to say now.
Oh Lord, don't put me on the spot. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and I hope that we'll be bringing another interview to you very soon.
Thank you very much. So that's from us. Take care, people. Goodbye.